Tennessee This Week from WATE's 6 on Your Side starts now.
Hello and welcome to Tennessee This Week. I'm Don Hudson. It's good to be with you. Back on Tuesday, newly elected officials were sworn in at the Tennessee Theater. Now, this included Knox County commissioners, Knox County school board members, as well as the Knox County law director, Knox County property assessor. You get the point here. All of them taking the oath of office afterward. Votes were then held to determine who would chair the Knox County School Board. That's Betsy Henderson retaining her role there. Another vote was held to determine who would become the Knox County Commission Chair, and that role, I don't know what's the best word to use here, we'll just say falling on Commissioner Gina Oster, and she joins us now here on Tennessee This Week to talk a little bit about this. So right out of the gate, 11-0 vote.
Yes.
So what does that say? What does that mean, I guess, to your support, and what does that say about your viewpoints and maybe your agenda?
I hope that that shows my commissioners that they feel like they can trust me to lead the commission. The commission's been led well over all of these years as our chairmans, and so I was honored to have all of the votes, because that does show that they do trust the leadership that I have as I was vice chair last year. So.
Right, and more, if you had like a 6-5 vote, how would you have felt compared to saying, hey, here's...
Yeah, I mean, it's a little, I think that would be a little unnerving, because you're kind of like, what was the problem and where was I not connecting? But I'm hoping that we're going to be able to all work together, and I think that they've seen that we do all really work together well on the county commission.
Yeah, one would think with 11-0 vote. Now, as the new chair, just so people understand, it's not a political advantage to be the chairperson. You might even think it's a disadvantage to have to do that, but you do run the agendas, you do run the meetings. How would that help you, for lack of a better term, push your priorities and agenda?
Really, my priorities and agendas are going to be the same what we have done as a commission in the whole. Honestly, it's up to each individual commissioner in their district of what they're going to put on the agenda. I put it on the agenda as chair, and that way we can have the working out of the process, have people come down and speak to us, and the commissioners can run their meetings in their district how they see fit. So really, it's just being more of an administrative person in this role, and I'll still be doing all of my work for my district behind the scenes that I already do, and so it's just a little bit more work, but that's okay. I love my job, and I'm really excited to have this new commission. We're gonna have a lot of new faces and opinions and personalities, and I think that's always good for the community.
So you're saying you have 5 new commissioners, right?
We do.
So basically half, almost half is new. In your opinion, what does the commission need to focus on right now? It's 2024. Fall coming up. You're about to have your first meeting, I think September 16th.
Yeah.
What do you need to focus on?
Our main thing for commission is we'll be still dealing with zoning. We did pass Knox Advance last in May, and we're going to now be dealing with the UDOs. We'll be dealing with the zonings. That's really where we're going to get into the nuts and the bolts of the plan, which I think is great, because we've not had a development plan for 20 years in Knox County, so it's always better to be proactive as opposed to reactive like we've done over the past. Development will always be top priority right now, because we're really growing at a rapid pace, as you know, and so that's going to always be an issue. Our budget will be coming up towards the first of the next year.
On that subject, I know you've said that you do not believe in raising taxes at all. You also, in the same breath, say that you want to support the Knox County law enforcement agencies there, especially the sheriff's office. Can we have the sheriff's office we need and the number of bodies without maybe raising taxes?
I think it's going to have to probably be something that's talked about in the next couple of years, because we give a lot of services to Knox County, and I think we've got a great tax rate here, but to be able to continue those services, i.e. the law enforcement and everything that we've all become accustomed to, we will have to look at things. This year's been a budget neutral year, so it's been really tough. We haven't been able to get some of the things done that we've wanted to in each one of our districts because of that, and so we're really going to have to reprioritize, and the mayor does a great job on our budget, but the commissioners will probably really have to do some deep digging this year.
And when it comes to housing, we can talk in generalities. We know, yes, the population's booming, and we all saw the Boyd Center report saying that basically over the last 18 years, the senior population went up 51%. They're saying by 2020, the population of 65 and older will represent 20% of our entire population, and so you have those housing issues and those health issues to go with that. How do you really address the housing crisis?
It really is a crisis at this point. Our first-time buyers can't get a home right now, and which is really tough. And our seniors are having a hard time because they can make a lot of money on their home, but they don't have anywhere to go.
Right.
And so it's really been tough. I've actually talked to a lady who lives out in Montana, and they've got a really cool tax structure out there that I want to do more looking into and talk to the mayor. But it would be a legislative agenda item. It wouldn't be commission, but they actually have a different tax base for 65 and older in communities that they recognize as a 65-year-old and up community. So there are so many of our seniors, especially in my district, that aren't ready to go to assisted living or don't have the health problems, but they do want to downsize, which actually would be perfect because then we could move our new people in, you know, our first-time buyers, but we need them someplace to go. Also, we don't have a lot of ranchers, you know, in Knoxville. And so that's something that's probably going to have to be looked at as far as development goes for more senior communities.
And how painful will it be to address transportation issues? Because we definitely have some places that, a perfect example, because I used to live right there off of Cedar Bluff, is one that when we do traffic every day, that is all backed up right there.
Yeah, it's really tough right through there. We actually have got Fox Lonis closed down right now for Cedar Bluff because we're able to do a huge water retention repair, which is going to be great for all of our citizens on Cedar Bluff. But it is a huge backed up area that we can't add more road to Cedar Bluff. There's nowhere else to go. So we are having to worry about infrastructure, and some of our roads are very old. And now you get into, people think you can just kind of go in and add some concrete, but that's not how it works, because now you have to go and buy people's property and you have to move utilities, and you know, we're talking millions and millions of dollars. So it's something that we deal with daily, and we're going to have to continue to deal with. And I look forward to continuing to dig in. My district is a little unique because we're pretty much built out. I get maybe 2 acres here or 5 acres here. We don't have big developments coming in. But my district is also kind of an aging district, not meaning the people, but the homes and the infrastructure and that kind of stuff. So we all have different things that we need to work on in areas that, you know, have to be taken care of.
Until just recently, there used to be some room out there in the Dutchtown kind of area, but I've seen all kinds of building going out there at this time.
It is. And, you know, I've got 5, 6 schools right within Cedar Bluff right there. I think I've got the most right in that area. And they're all good schools, and everybody kind of wants to be there, but that's kind of the problem too. Where are we going to put everybody? All
right. Well, we want to wrap this up. I know that you attended the ribbon cutting of the Andy's Frozen Custard.
I did.
I'm almost glad I don't live right there anymore, because I would be driving by that every single day. But I'm just curious, because I don't know if you did or did not. Did you have a chance to have some, and do you have a favorite already?
Oh my gosh, their banana split is amazing. And I worked with Tom Gass and Noel to get that in there, and it actually has worked pretty well on the traffic. We've got the lights working really well. My community has loved it. There's not 20 people there or less every single day that you drive by, but their banana split by far is like the best.
This is endorsed by you now, their banana split, and we're not paying them or anything. I just I saw it go up, and I saw the ribbon cutting.
Oh yeah, the banana split's the best.
Now I know what to get when I go by there. Thank you very much for being with us.
You.
We appreciate it. All right, coming up on Tennessee This Week, our panel of pundits will join us, and we'll talk more things about Knox County and East Tennessee. Welcome back to Tennessee This Week. A moment ago, we heard from the new Knox County Commission Chair talking about her priorities and the Commissioner's priorities, and being able, I should say, to work together. And now we're going to bring in our panel of pundits to discuss what she had to say and also their views of where things should be headed here in Knox County. Courtney Piper, Craig Griffith, Michael Covington, to all three of you, thank you very much for being here. So let's first just react to what the new chairperson, the new chair, I guess I should say, Gina Oster had to say. Right direction, right priorities?
Well, she hit the 2 elements. It's development, zoning, and then budget. For time immemorial, the most picky questions on either city council or county commission have been development. Quality development versus neighborhood integrity. How do you balance that? And there are forces pro and against those 2 conflicting notions on county commission. So there's going to be some new voices on there. It'll be interesting to see what changes. And of course, they have the new growth plan that they have to incorporate into it. And then on the budget side, there's, as she pointed out, there has been a tax increase, and there have been some issues that haven't been funded, perhaps like they should have been, specifically law enforcement, schools, things like that. And now they have this pension bubble that's coming into play now in the county budget. So they're going to be tasked with very difficult, over the next several years, of addressing those issues in a way that the citizens of Knox County are happy with.
Does it help to have that kind of blueprint by having that growth plan get passed and not have to worry about that whole political issue there?
You know what, Don, it should.
It should,
It
okay.
should, but it's not going to prevent developers from bringing up variances. We saw one just a couple of weeks ago where, according to this new growth plan, Commission was only supposed to consider variances or adjustments to this plan every quarter, and lo and behold, we just pass it, and then there's a developer that comes in and it's like, actually, I've got something I want to change. So it should, but here's the thing, and here's what we've realized with growth in Knox County. The rate at which we are developing property and building homes is not keeping up with our needs. So the taxes that developers are paying to develop property and then the new homeowners are paying property taxes is not keeping up with the pace of infrastructure that is required. That means making sure our roads are sound. That means water and wastewater. It means schools. We heard from Powell Elementary School that there's a lot of planned subdivisions going in around Powell Elementary School, but Powell Elementary School is experiencing a lot of issues with that building that will require renovation, not meeting ADA, their portables are in horrible conditions. So we really need to take a hard look at this county as to what it's going to take to meet the needs of all of our citizens that are locating into Knox County. Ambulance, fire, and police is another issue too. Our tax rate is not keeping up with the needs of Knox County.
That said, Michael, is even though the new chair said she didn't want to get into raising any taxes, are we looking down the road where we will probably have to do that to keep up with everything, or can we be more fiscally responsible, I guess, and not do that?
Well, the county commission is made up of 11 commissioners. I'm looking at Shane Jackson, Angela Russell, two people who are in finance. They campaigned on having a good understanding of how budgets work and how to streamline budgets. Andy Fox is a hawk. He's going to get in and he's going to flex his muscle a little bit in terms of what folks in his district are interested in, and what they like in South Knoxville is less of the development than Advanced Knox is allowing. So there are going to be some conflicts, and that whole issue about budgets and potentially raising taxes, well, that's going to be a fight. There's going to be a battle royal over that, and it's going to be interesting to see how the mayoral candidates weigh in. One mayoral candidate has already said he anticipates that there's going to be a tax increase. That individual's probably not going to win this election. He's probably lost right out of the gate. The other two, or certainly the other one that's committed and another, is going to get in this race for sure. They will be the ones who decide whether or not this is an election that is determined by a tax increase or no tax increase. So I first look for the county commission to weigh in, but then the mayoral candidates are going to shape the debate.
In that case, are we going to have some people running without talking about that, but in the back of their mind, knowing that tax is something they're going to have to bring out?
Well, yeah, they can try to ignore it, but it won't be ignored by the public, nor by the media, nor by the members of the county commission. Right. So it's going to be an issue, and it's been a long time since there's been a property tax increase in Knox County. So if you want to have everything, it's sort of like state of Tennessee prides itself at being a low tax state. But in the end, with a low tax state, you don't necessarily have enough money to do the road projects you want to do the educational projects you want to do. So, you know, it is something that'll be out there that they will have to address.
And it would be to the political advantage of these mayoral candidates to figure out how they want to message our financial picture. In addition to the pension bubble that Craig talked about, we're already facing delays with ambulance service, and then sheriff deputies that, quite frankly, deserve more than they are receiving. Add on to that, we have debts that are due. The Ragsdale administration took out very hefty loans that we have only been paying interest on, and in a couple years the principal is due. So we have a financial picture that's going to require a clearness of vision in addressing it, and not speaking in platitudes or party talking points.
Okay, I'll go right now. Here's
Okay.
their platform.
Okay.
No new taxes.
Right, right. That's been tried.
A property tax isn't a new tax.
No new tax increases.
Okay,
I'll
gotta
clarify.
clarify.
Yeah, and I don't think they can. Do you think they can do that? Not have an increase? I mean, it's
possible. There would have to be some very painful cuts for that to happen. And if you've got the right combination of commissioners, there could be some cuts. Glenn Jacobs tried to make some cuts. There was a lot of pushback as a result of those cuts. So it's a matter of making the cuts and then dealing with the backlash.
Let's talk a little bit. I know we're talking about the commission, but also the Knox County School Board. They had, their people were sworn in as well. I'm curious what their priorities should be. You're talking about a school you mentioned already that needs maybe in a little disrepair and needs repairs. What does the school board need to focus on to get it right?
It's continuing some of the priorities that the superintendent established. The first one being making sure that Knox County is a quality school district in a place where teachers want to teach. That means that we are providing salary and benefit packages that are competitive. At the last school board meeting, the superintendent and the administration gave a report saying how we've made really great progress in terms of filling vacancies. We need to completely zero out those vacancies and then start talking to principals and administrators to see what more is needed. So certainly taking a look at making sure that we are appropriately staffed and salaried and benefited. Also, special education is something that is really important to me. I think that, our school system can be judged by how we take care of our most vulnerable populations. So making sure that special education teachers, administrators, and students are getting the supports that they need. And also, let's take a look at that capital improvement plan. We've talked about growth and development. What developers are building are single-family housing units. Families typically come with children that need to go to school. And so making sure that our schools are adequate enough to educate children. There are elementary schools in West Knoxville that have 1,000 elementary students. That is insane and crazy to me, and they're busting at the seams. So we need to make sure that we have enough school infrastructure to appropriately house and educate all the new students we have coming into Knox County.
Michael, how do we pay for that? Because we are growing. I mean, we've seen the reports. We've experienced it over the last 20 years. We are growing. There's no question more kids are coming.
The dynamics of the question are troubling to me. And they're troubling because I wanted to follow up on Courtney's comments and just talk about charter schools and how charter schools coming in, they are private industry schools. When they come in, they're going to take students out of the system, but how does that impact budgets? Does that deplete the public school budget? We always talk about the voucher program. Is that going to deplete the budget? So I'm looking at hemorrhaging dollars, and will the school system be able to manage with less money? And that's a big concern for me.
All right. Well, still to come. Greg, sorry. Did I stop? Did I jump in there?
They have a laundry list of needs that are way bigger than their pocketbook.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
There you go.
Something will bust.
Something will bust. Very concise. All right. Still to come here in Tennessee this week, we take a look at the single largest investment in Tennessee history. Stay with us. Welcome back to Tennessee this week. On Wednesday, the single largest investment in Tennessee history was announced. Orano USA says it has chosen Oak Ridge to be its preferred site for an expansion. Specifically, the site will be over where the old K-25 site was demolished. This will be a multi-billion-dollar investment in the centrifuge uranium facility. The facility will be 750,000 square feet, make it one of the largest uranium enrichment centers in North America. Here's Congressman Chuck Fleischman talking about it.
They picked Oak Ridge in Tennessee because when Orano looked at the assets that we have here in Tennessee, it wasn't even a close call. Tennessee had the best academia institutions, whether it was University of Tennessee at Knoxville or Tennessee Tech and a host of others. Had the Oak Ridge Reservation with the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, had the workforce in Oak Ridge, had the land in Oak Ridge. This is legacy land.
The congressman, of course, talking about his area that he oversees, but I think, I want to say it was the chairman or CEO of Orano as well. When he was here, he said the same thing. He said it wasn't even close when it came to picking a place to do this. So how should we react to this big investment in Tennessee? Mike, we'll start with you.
Well, on this program just 7 days ago, I said the voucher program is going to be decided by a big sack of money. And the biggest sack of money ever has arrived 7 days after the governor visited. So I'm seeing that the governor had a strategy all along. He knew for some time that this was coming. And so his visit to Knoxville set the stage for his sale of his voucher program. This is going to be a boon for Tennessee. This is going to benefit Tennessee across the board. And I like the fact that the governor had a plan. He has stuck to his plan. I hope that his plan in expanding choice, as he calls it, does not interfere with or encumber public schools. I don't want to see public schools lose money. But what I do see is that he is promoting a choice that's a little different than what Courtney has been railing against. Courtney says it's not really choice for parents. What it really is the difference between Kroger's, Publix, and Food City and Fresh Market, where you go in and you have choices of beef, ground chuck, ground sirloin versus filet mignon. So this choice is essentially double entendre. It's multiple meanings for the same word of choice. And so the governor wants to expand higher level learning, and I'm all for that. But I don't want it to interfere with educating all the other students in Tennessee.
Right. Craig, I want to get to you, but he says he brought up Courtney. We'll let Courtney go first.
Well, I'll focus on Orano because this is a huge win. The city of Oak Ridge and the Oak Ridge region has put a priority on advanced nuclear technology economic development recruitment. The city of Oak Ridge crosses two counties, Anderson County and Rogue County, and those local governments have worked together and collaborated together really well to be laser focused on that recruitment with the support of the Department of Energy to make sure they are getting in these really, really big wins. These wins would not be possible unless all of those government entities were collaborating. So hats off to them to being focused on a goal and starting to see results. Another thing to their credit, too, is we have seen everybody involved with Workforce Development Pipeline build a pipeline for advanced nuclear technologies. The unions, our community colleges and TCATs, our four-year institutions have all worked together to make sure that East Tennessee can build a pipeline for advanced nuclear companies, and you're starting to see that. The United States Department of Energy has thousands of acres, tens of thousands of acres of property available that can be repurposed, reindustrialized, and reused for the advanced nuclear industry, and we're starting to see that. So Orano got that property for free because it's something that originally the United States government took for the Cold War, for World War II, and now we are reindustrializing it and repurposing it. It's just a fantastic economic development win all the way around, as an indicative of what can happen when local governments collaborate.
And Craig, you've been around for a few years. You've seen things come and seen things go. I mean, your take on this, compared to anything else that's happened in East Tennessee, how does this help us, and how does it help kind of that ripple effect down the line?
Well, of course, it's a key victory in economic development for East Tennessee. You know, but I want to also point out to Courtney that there was a long legacy of environmental problems at that location that took billions of dollars of taxpayers' money to clean up, to bring it to a place where this company could locate its new 750,000 square foot facility in, which is a plus. I'm glad it was done. Many people around here, talk about old people, have no relatives that actually worked at that K-25 plant when it was, producing uranium, and it has a long history of this type of work in East Tennessee. So it seems to be a perfect place for this company to undertake it. One of the problems I have with it, though, is if you look at this and the Ford investment, the Ford investment is about 10 times more jobs. This is projected to have 350
Right.
employees over time. You know, the Ford plant's closer to 10,000. So, you know, this is a lot of money per job. But, you know, it'll grow, and it'll help East Tennessee. It'll help the entire country in terms of its energy needs. I found it interesting that this plant's going to take up 40% of the demand for electricity in Oak Ridge.
And there's those are the ripple effects, as well as the positive, those negative ones too. Thank you very much for your opinions and insights, and thank you for watching Tennessee This Week, and we'll see you next week right here.
The views of guests on Tennessee This Week are their own and do not represent the views of WATE 6 on your side or Next Star Broadcasting.